Okay, the little thing says I am live. So, hey, what's going on out there, all my friends and followers? Thanks for being here this evening. We got a great interview coming up. And this is a gentleman that I ran across when I'm looking through the YouTube. And of course, because I'm in the field of being fit over 50, fit and 50, I've seen his videos. I was like, holy cow, I got to talk to this guy. And so by different emails back and forth, messengers back and forth. We finally settled on a time. We got him in, and so I can go into a lot longer stuff of how I do things or what I do, but it's not the point of this. The point is to bring him on. So right now I'm going to bring on Laurence from Fit and 50. How you doing, Laurence? Can you hear me?
I can, and great to be on here, getting a chance to talk with you and the people who like to watch your show.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. So, yeah, we had a little bit of technical difficulties earlier, totally on my end, but I think we overcame them and we'll go from there. So, all right. As I said, we are both targeting the same kind of market, the over 50 crowd. But we approach it by two totally different ways. I am more the nonchalant, relaxed. Okay, let's just do a couple of sets of this or a couple of sets of that. Eat clean stuff and drink some water, and we're good to go type of thing. That's my philosophy, is keep things simple and basic. I don't like to get to and this is not a negative way, so don't think it is that way, because somebody told me once that I'm not nerdy enough. And some of my friends like to get into all the science behind everything. And when I watch your stuff, Laurence, I see that you're in that realm of getting more scientific about everything. So, all that being said, I know I'm working a way around this one, but explain to the people that are tuning in, what is your target audience, and who are you marketing toward or presenting your stuff towards?
Well, with the channel name of Fit and 50, like you say, we're kind of in that same age group. So that's a lot of it. I have a larger demographic, but yeah, the most of it is in that 40s to 50s range. And then I have, well, some into the 60s and a few kind of in from about 30 up that kind of watch my channel. So it's a pretty big range, but my main focus is the older guys. And they find that, because we're actually kind of going through a lot of changes too. And it's a different stage. Our kids are growing up, leaving home. It's a chance for us to start working on ourselves again a bit more. And we pretty much all have gone through a phase where we've neglected our own health and fitness as we're doing what's right to get our families fed and raised and on the right path. So those are the ones that I kind of target to help get going again.
Is it mostly men or women? And the reason I ask that, and not to exclude either gender, but the reason I ask that is because a lot of your stuff I see on your YouTube page hits the testosterone, for lack of a better term. And so is that accurate? You're more toward the men than the women, or
yeah, about 92% of the people who watch my channel are men. So
okay.
It's definitely a male audience. It's definitely more male issues. I have had some female subscribers ask me to do more stuff with to deal with female issues, but it's not really my expertise, and I'd have to. I put a fair bit of research and work into what I do already, and that would be a whole new area for me to get into. And I know that there are some really good, more female-oriented fit and 50, over 50 channels out there.
Right. Okay, gotcha. Now, and if you're just tuning in, I put the link to your YouTube channel in the comments. So if anybody wants to check it out, they can. So, all right. So my first question is, I guess I ever asked a couple of questions, but my next question is, what is your background? And I asked that because I see some before and after pictures that you put on a couple of places, I think on their YouTube page, and you have a look now than you did a few years ago.
Yeah, I don't. Well, that's going to be quite a few years ago now, but I don't have an athletic background at all. I don't have a fitness background at all. When you go back long term, I mean, I did track and field in school. I wasn't a track athlete, so to speak. I had my errors. I did fairly well in cross country. When I call fairly well, let me clarify this. I did fairly well in cross country running at school because I could get past our school level. Like, you'd have to be able to run so well to compete at the next level. And then I could always get to kind of what was the intramurals, but I could never get to like provincial level or beyond that. So basically my best runs was longer distance running. 400-meter, for some strange reason, those are contradictory races, but I did well at those. And strangely enough, the throwing, javelin, shot put, and I was a small kid, right? I wasn't a very big kid. And discus, I did well at those. And so that's kind of weird. But other than that, I really wasn't an athletic kid, but I enjoyed doing stuff, right?
Okay. So then what made you all of a sudden change to the way you are now?
Well, I don't think it was all of a sudden. I think I kept getting worse, actually. As time went on, and that the picture that most people see is of me in my 30s holding my son. That's the one I show most people. And I'm 40 years old there, and I would be considered obese, which blew my mind. It wasn't until later on I realized that's obese, and I don't want to call it pretty slim because I'm fat, but I never thought of it as obese. I thought of obese as a lot bigger person, right? I think that's something that we don't really understand in our society. And then, so anyway, I went from that, and I had that for quite a while. Somewhere in my 40s, I did slim up a bit, but I didn't work out regular at all or really at all until I was 45. And my son got me working out. He was 16 at the time, and he had just broke up with his girlfriend. And basically, she started dating a jockey guy. My son was kind of like me, so he wasn't a jockey guy. He was a goofy, funny guy. And so he felt he wanted abs. So I wanted to spend more time with my son. At that age, that's what a guy wants to do, right? You want to build that relationship. So we got gym memberships and we started working out, and I started seeing changes in those first 3 months, and I got hooked.
Yeah, well, the changes you made are show off. I mean, show pretty well. And the folks who haven't been to your YouTube channel yet, once they click the link, they'll go there, and right away. Every video I saw of you, you have your shirt off and you have a bow tie on, which is great. Because if I had a physique like that, I'd show it off as well too. I mean, you have a great physique, and obviously that's part of your marketing campaign. So I appreciate that. So, but what made you get? And I know this is totally off the topic, but what made you put the bow tie on at the same time of having your shirt off? Is that?
Oh yeah, it's a good question. I think for anything to do with my YouTube channel at all. I think that's a great question. When I first started YouTube, I kind of just did these long, rambly things where I tried to be inspirational or whatever. Of course, nobody watched, which is when you start YouTube, nobody watches. So there's nothing, you have to figure that out at the start. Nobody's going to watch when you first start doing videos. You just have to keep doing videos. And then just out of a kick, I started doing this Nutty Professor thing. So the bow tie actually came from this Nutty Professor thing, and people didn't really like it. It was pretty cringeworthy. That being said, some of my biggest videos, the ones that got over 500,000 views and stuff, are the cringeworthy. So maybe if I'd kept it up, I'd have been a bigger channel because they were so awful that people watched them for the awful, I guess. And so that's kind of how it started. Then I started to tame it down. I was actually only at about 500 subscribers when I tamed it down, because I knew that people weren't really appreciating the goofiness. And like I said, my son's a bit of a goofy kid. Well, I'm a goofy dad, right? So I started to tone it down a bit and kind of went with a little more serious approach. But I kept the bow tie just because it was kind of a bit of a brand thing now, right? And
well, I think it's cool. I mean, first time I saw it, I'm like, who is this nutcase? But then after I saw it, I mean, and once again, I'm saying that out of pure fitness love for each other here. So
I was going to say, you won't be the first guy to say it. So
okay, so all right, enough about the bow tie. So I hit on this earlier. We talked about testosterone quite a bit, and we haven't talked about it yet. Your YouTube channel talks about testosterone quite a bit. So one of the things that I've always wanted to hear about from somebody that's done a lot more research with this than I have is, when it comes to testosterone, how do guys of 50 plus years old, how can they boost their testosterone?
The two biggest things are exercise and lose excess body fat. So before you even worry about supplementation and stuff, start there. Lose excess body fat and start to exercise. And intense exercise makes a difference. I know people talk about the spike right after, but that's not what we're after. We're after something long-term, right? And there's tons of studies out there. And of course, I brought lots up on my channel, which show that long-term, after, 12 weeks, 6 months, these people's resting or baseline testosterone levels are now elevated from losing body fat and exercising. So I take that over any supplements. I mean, there are, supplements to make a difference. And of course, to get there, cleaning up your diet, everything helps. But those are the two biggest things you can do to boost your testosterone.
Exercise and lose fat. So basically your diet.
Body fat, yeah. Excess body fat.
Okay, so if you can do the Reader's Digest version here. So when you tell somebody to lose the excess body fat and the exercise, when you say that eat cleaner, what is your Reader's Digest version of eating cleaner?
I could make that a long story too, but we'll make it short. Whole food eating. The less processed, the more whole food, the better. I mean, you look at just about any sort of diet system that's really good, whether it be a Mediterranean diet, even vegetarian, veganism, carnivore. I don't know if carnivore is really that great of a diet, but I'm going to put it on there because it's kind of whole food eating. It's just animals, but they're slightly processed, right? But fairly minimally processed. Keto, if you do it right. Well, if you do keto right, you really got to track your macros carefully. I don't know how many people actually do that. I've done keto. It's still, they all basically whole food based. And that's the way we're supposed to eat our food. That's where we're meant to eat our food.
Okay. So for the people who don't know what that means, what exactly is whole food based? What do you mean by that?
As minimally processed as possible. I mean, when we talk about meats, they're processed some, right? But that's still fairly minimally processed. You could say your vegetables are processed because we have to pull them out of the ground. We clean them. We strip the husks off the corn. You could say they're processed too, but very minimally processed, right? And the closest you can get, the least processed, the better, right? So fresh corn would be better than canned corn. I don't know why I'm using corn for an example, but that's what popped into my head.
If you were right, you see around here. I live in the middle of cornfields, so yeah, to me it makes perfect sense.
Oh, okay, perfect. But yeah, so that would be that for some reason that popped in my head. Or potatoes, right? Like you got your you peel your potatoes and that's better than having canned potatoes or frozen or. But that being said, if all you can afford is, now we're talking about vegetables, frozen vegetables, then frozen vegetables are still better than say canned vegetables. The less processed you get, the better, right?
Okay.
And so fresh vegetables would be my first choice. But if you can't afford that, then go frozen. And if you can afford frozen and cans more affordable, then go canned. You're still better off than getting a pizza pop.
Yeah. Oh, health-wise, yeah. Taste-wise, not so much. But I don't
know. I found veggies have gotten to be pretty tasty. And then certain ones are great flavor enhancers, right? I mean, for now, I'm going crazy on veggies, but I'm more of a whole food balanced diet guy. Since I'm on a veggie rampage, I'll finish, but then I'll get back to that. So I like flavor enhancers, things like onions, mushrooms, tomatoes, peppers. Those are great flavor enhancers to put in your food or to have with your food just to spice it up and make it taste even better. So, I mean, because veggies aren't necessarily bland if you pick the right ones and you mix them together, right? I mean, sitting down to a plain bowl of spinach might be a bit much. And then I always use salad dressing too. I kind of watch the quantities, but I definitely will put salad dressing on my salads to jazz it up. I don't think when it comes to spices and stuff that we should limit that too much because we want our food to taste good.
There you go. Yep. So are you, do you eat meat at all?
I do. I know I made that. I went on a big rant on veggies there, but I'm definitely a meat eater. Before the carnivore diet became a thing, I used to tell people that I'm a bit of a carnivore because I eat a lot of meat.
Okay.
But then the carnivore diet came along, and that's not my thing at all. I like to see a good moderate amount of carbs, moderate amount of fats, and a moderate amount of protein. I have protein at every meal, and typically it is some sort of animal-based protein.
Okay. So you brought up protein, and this is one of my questions I wrote down for later on, but I'll put it up now. You talk about something called protein synthesis in several of your videos. Can you explain what that is? I'm not the most up to date on what the heck that was. And I'm like, wow, what is this? It sounds interesting.
Yeah, well, that's when protein synthesis gets spiked, like, for example, after a workout or whatever, then our protein synthesis spikes, and that's the process of the whole rebuilding and repairing of our muscles. And so you need protein for that process. And even at post-workout, having some protein can help to enhance that process a bit. For people who are really experienced and advanced trainers, it makes a bigger difference. For newer people, it doesn't really make any difference. Like to eat right after your workout doesn't matter at all, right? Like not really, not unless you're more experienced. And then yes, that process is very linked to muscle growth and muscle repair.
Okay. All right. For those that are just tuning in right now, I'm speaking with Laurence, who runs the YouTube channel Fit and 50. And we're talking about all kinds of stuff for the 50 and over crowd. And so we talked about testosterone boosting, but now I want to get into more of muscle building. And so how do I want to phrase this without getting to, Mr. Macho, meathead type thing. So what is your philosophy on how somebody can build muscle? Let me ask that.
Progression first and foremost. For a lot of guys, if you're carrying extra body fat, it really aids in building muscle. So you don't need to worry about like bulking or anything. I'm very much, if you could call what I do bulk at all, like my weight's up now. So if you would go watch my video on Sunday, you're going to get an idea what I look like with extra weight on me, right?
I'm going to laugh at you now because your weight is up. Right. Yeah. I want to say this is a guy who does his videos with his shirt off and he has ripped everything. And you have no fat on you, so don't say you have extra.
Well, I do. I'm probably about 13% body fat right now. So, and I think the prime body fat level to build muscle is right in and around that 15%. I think that I do not think that people need to be over 20%. As a matter of fact, I think it starts to have a negative effect on your body if you're starting to get way over that 20%. So I think there's a good goal for everybody. I mean, you go by waist size first, right? So little sidetrack here, but I like this.
Fine. That's fine.
You go by waist size first. So if you have over a 40-inch waist, your next goal is to get under a 40-inch waist. And they've done studies, and your testosterone will boost up. And as a matter of fact, growth hormone can be tracked so specific to your waist size, it can actually be tracked by how much it'll go up based on the centimeter. And when I saw that study, I thought it was crazy. And so, of course, I did video on it. So it's in my little list of videos if you want to watch it. But anyway, so your first goal is to get under a 40-inch waist. And that's measuring it around the belly button, right? Not pant size, because pants are always more forgiving than the reality. Then once you're under a 40-inch waist, your next goal is to get under a 37-inch waist, because that gets you kind of out of that health danger zone. That danger zone for health is kind of starts right around that 37-inch waist. So you want to get right out of that first, get into that leaner waist size. So that's all you don't even worry about your body percent. When you're in that range, don't even worry about your body fat percentage. Just worry about getting that waistline down, get you into that better health zone, which is about roughly, I mean, everybody's a little different. If you're a really big man, 37 inches, like really tall man, 37 inches may be okay. But for most of us, we want to be under that 37 inches. Then once you're there, then you might want to start thinking of your body fat levels a bit.
Okay, but all right. So right away, because I do a question and answer newsletter for my followers, and this question came up the other day about they just wanted to lose weight or they want to lose fat around the belly. And my thing is, well, you can't spot reduce fat, but once you start losing fat, you can lose it everywhere in the same proportion. For instance, how do I want to phrase this? If you lose your belly fat, you're also going to lose the fat on your arms and your legs and so on and so forth. So you're not going to have like 10% body fat on your legs and 3% on your arms. You're going to have the same body fat percentage everywhere in your body. Unless I'm totally off base there, but that's what I've always been.
Well, no, you're going to, obviously some places on your body will be leaner than others. We all carry fat a little bit different, right? But you're right. We tend to kind of lose fat from the extremities in, right? So, strangely enough, we'll lose fat off our arms and our feet and our ankles and our thighs for most men. Some men carry more fat in their thighs and it'll go off later there. But then before you get much going off your belly. But that's right. You have to go through that process. You're not spot reducing that fat off your waist. You're reducing whole body fat, but the end result is your waistline is going to get smaller.
Okay. All right. That makes sense and everything else. Okay. So talked about fat reduction. We talked about building more muscles. And so now this is something that I'm big on right now is weights. Because I see you have weights and you talked about exercise bands and body weight. exercises. So which do you prefer? Let me back up. When somebody is first coming to you and say, "Hey, Mr. Laurence, I want to start working out. I haven't done it for a long time." What would you start telling them to do? I mean, of course, there's a lot more to it than that. You get a whole questionnaire. You want to get to know me.
Yeah, I get it. But what kind of weight system do I use? I think to answer that, I'm going to answer a little differently. I mean, people usually come to me with what they have, right? Okay. And then I kind of work with what they have. And if they need more, then I tell them what more they need to get, right? So I've had clients that worked with me with bands, and I've had clients that have worked with me with dumbbells, and I have a lot of gym clients, right? Which is probably what most people are like. Mm-hmm. Now, for me, most of my own personal physique, so this gives you an idea where I have a bit of a leaning, was built through body weight and dumbbell training.
Okay.
So that gives me a bit of a lean there. Now, these days, I use bands. I also have a cable machine now, so I've been playing around with it too, which is similar to bands, but a bit more of an even weight, right? So you don't have that that variance in resistance that you have with bands, right? So yeah, I use them all in my training now because I have the opportunity to. I mean, I even use I was gonna say a TRX, but it's not TRX. It's actually called a Liebert Hit System, which one of these days I keep saying I'm going to feature on my channel.
All right.
But I use that as well, and that's another piece of equipment I use just because you can mix things up and do some different stuff with it. But I would say the foundation of my training, I guess the way I think for other people, is based on dumbbell training and body weight.
Yeah, man off my own heart right there. Yeah, because I tell people all the time, if you look at my gym, which is basically a section of my basement, is I have a 20-pound, two 20-pound dumbbells and two 25-pound dumbbells. And that's the only weight I have. I have a few exercise bands and I have a pull-up bar. But I do everything body weight wise. And when I talk to other people or train other people, I get them focused on the body weight stuff so they will know they can work out anywhere they want to with that.
Yeah.
If they get more equipment in there, then that's great. But what they ask what I got to be honest and tell them that's all I do. It's all I work with. And because I'm an at-home fitness guy. I haven't gone to a gym in so long. Even to train folks, I say, let's just do it outside or do it at home when I train them.
Yeah.
So when you say body weight, I'm like, all right, I'm right with you on that one. So are you, do you like to train individual body parts at one, for instance, like biceps and triceps in one workout, or are you more of a full body and every workout type guy?
I guess let's say I'm more full body. I mean, the last year and a bit, I've trained exclusively full body. But before that, I would have said I was actually mainly a body part split, more like upper lower body though. I think most of the time I trained upper lower body, but I mixed it up. I kind of split it push pull wise and antagonistic. So I've done a lot of different varieties, and I've done the bro split. I actually got pretty good results on the bro. I can't talk all of a sudden. The bro split, I actually got pretty good results from that, even though it's talked down quite a bit. But I do find it's hard, especially body parts where I have like old injuries, like my shoulders. To try to have a shoulder day is tough on my body, like an individual shoulder day. I need to keep the volume down a bit and tie it in with some other exercises. And I'm a bit of a fan of volume, but you got to balance that with where you're at, right? And so I have a shoulder that's cranky, and so I got to balance that.
Okay. You just said something, and I gotta be honest, I've never heard this term. You said bro split, as in BRO split?
Yeah. So that's where you have, well, that's where you have a chest day, and you have a back day, and you got a leg day, and you got a shoulder day, and you got an arm day. I think that's basically how I would do my bro split. And not maybe that order, but yeah. So then you're really just working, you're hammering one body part, and you really hammer too. Like my workouts were a good hour and a half long, and you just hammer that one from every angle. And when it comes to some of my most insane arm pumps, and arms are a bit of a weak point on me, one of them came from those bro split days, right? Like,
I just never heard a term bro split before. This is interesting. So
no, I call it that more than anything else. But
really, so is bro an acronym for something?
Just brother, I guess, right? But bro A bro is a gym guy, right? Just, he's not a pro.
Yeah,
He's not.
yeah.
He's maybe not. It's funny because he's maybe not the most scientific guy. He's just a bro. He goes and he works out. I mean, it's often called like a bodybuilding split too, because a lot of the bodybuilders work out that way, right?
Okay. So when you do that, do you work out your muscles to fatigue?
Yeah, and beyond sometimes. You're in that way. It's a less pleasant way to work. I thought, because whatever body part you're doing, you annihilate.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like, you don't come out. Yeah, you annihilate. Like, it's I would call it less pleasant.
Okay. So, and I don't know why I just thought of this, but do you do any kind of yoga at all?
I should. I don't. I should. My wife and I had actually made Sundays yoga day for a while, and I did for a while, but I never kept it up. I do have mobility work that I do, not static stretching, but I do have some mobility work I do at the beginning of my workouts, and I swear by that stuff as part of my warm up now because, again, you could get away with it when you're younger, but when you're older, a good warm up means everything.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, it does. So, all right, Laurence, I only said that I would keep you on for about a half hour or so, and we're running right at that point. But I got a couple more questions for you here. And once again, folks, I have it in the comments there if you want to. The link to his the Fit and 50 YouTube channel. So one of the videos you had, and I'm going to end with this, is we talked about testosterone earlier, so I want to keep with that because I thought this was fascinating as well. What are some myths about testosterone and the truths instead of the myths?
I guess one of the interesting myths about that is exactly. I was going to say about testosterone causing you to go bald. I actually believe that. I guess maybe I just wanted to, but but yeah, that's one of the most common myths. Let me try to think of some others. I did a video on that not too long ago, but for some reason the first one pops into my head. But
the two things I was wanting to bring up is baldness. So lack of testosterone does not cause baldness. Is that correct?
Oh no! I actually, the myth was that too much testosterone caused baldness, and that's also not true. Oh. So either way, the hair on your head, if you're low on testosterone, you can actually lose hair in your beard. So you could get a patchy beard, for example. Maybe mine looks patchy because it's all gray. I'm looking in the monitor here now, but it's all gray. But you could get a patchy beard, or you could lose some of your chest hair, or some hair off your back, or arms, or legs, or places you'd normally have hair. You could actually start losing that hair, but it actually doesn't affect the hair on your head.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I can't grow right here. It doesn't come in. If I grow, it just looks silly. It's almost like a reverse. What do you call those things? Coming down just there. I can't think what it is. When you grow the hair just around here.
Yeah, like that. Well, it's like like a goatee.
Goatee. Yeah, that's it. I can think of the goatee. All right. And what about as age progresses, as we get older? Do we lose testosterone with age, or is it still, once again, all exercise and diet?
I guess one of the things that I've really brought up in this channel, again, is we see a lot of studies with athletic older men with testosterone levels higher than the average person walking on the street. So I am of the opinion that if you can keep your health up and high, your testosterone levels will stay up. I mean, it varies. I've had 3 or 4 tests. But I do have an issue with my SHGB. So I guess, to be honest, you got to be clear, because there's a difference between your free testosterone and your total testosterone, right? So your bound testosterone, and particularly the stuff that's bound with SHGB, is less usable. It's not totally unusable. There are some receptors in the body that will take it, but not the muscles. So I know I got off on a tangent, but I was just going to mention that even my own personal testosterone levels are over 800. Like every test I've ever done, my, what is that? Nanograms per deciliter. Is that right? I think that's what after that say. It's, yeah. So anyway, and whereas the average guy's is about 650, say.
Okay.
So, and I'm 55 this month. So that's just to give you a little bit of an idea. Now, I got on the SHGB free testosterone. I've done some videos on that too, but it makes a difference. And my SHGB is quite high, and it's something I'm working on, and I don't have the answer for. So I can tell you lots of little things they say lower it, but I can't tell you anything that I've experienced personally to lower it. And if I ever can, there'll be a video on my channel, I guarantee you. But
so is it good for a guy our age, because I'm just a couple of years behind you, to try to always increase the testosterone, or just let nature take its course? And as long as you're work out and eat healthy, let nature take its course. What would you suggest somebody do?
If you're really concerned about it, I mean, I track it now. It's not something I always tracked, right? But I kind of keep an eye on it now. And I think if you're really concerned about it, then you need to talk to your doctor and see what kind of real concern is there. Now, the doctors, have a little different view on it than I do, because I still believe that we need to be pushing ourselves to improve as long as we can. And I guess that's if you want to, right? And I think these things can get better. But should, you be focusing more on your testosterone than your training? Well, that doesn't make sense, right? You should be focusing more on eating right, training hard, living a good life. And, your testosterone, if you're doing that, your testosterone should follow along, right?
Okay. Yeah, very good. Great stuff there, Laurence. I do appreciate it. And once again, it's the Fit and 50 YouTube channel, and I have a link there in the in the comments for everybody who wants to go there. And also, this will be posted, of course, to my channel and my YouTube channel as well. Top Fitness Strategies, my cheap plug. And so I'm going to let you go, Laurence. Is there any final words of wisdom you'd like to say to everybody watching right now?
Just keep working out and keep having fun.
Fantastic. Well, I do appreciate your time. Thanks a lot. And I'm sure we'll see each other again in the future. And folks, once again, thanks for being here. And if you have any questions for Laurence, please feel free to go to his channel and look at it. And if you, for whatever reason, forget where his channel is, or you can't find a link, feel free to forward the questions to me, and I'll make sure I get it over to him as well. And I'll always link to his stuff as well. So I appreciate that. And once again, thank you for your time. And so I'll end it here. So appreciate it.
Excellent.
All right.
We'll talk to you.